All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. It's a winning streak for the San Francisco Giants as they go into San Diego and take game one against the Padres 4-3. And they get all 4 runs on 3 home runs in the first and hold on for the 4-3 win. We'll talk about it. We'll break it all down for you. But first, let us thank our sponsor of the show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give the Chapman Law Group a call for all your legal needs, especially if you've got a personal injury situation. They can handle it for you and get you top dollar. 415-613-9483. Let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. Maybe it's just a simple document you need prepared or a living trust or whatever that might be. Give Chapman Law Group a call. Let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. All right, Lou, a little happy music tonight as the ball club gets it done in San Diego. Get the little music. Maybe give it a little volume, huh? Little volume?
Sure, why not? Doesn't happen too often.
Yeah. All right. There we go. We'll get the music at the end of the show as always. As we let it lead us out. But tonight, Lou, it's celebration for a victory. 2 games in a row. The Giants haven't won 2 games in a row since their last road trip when they took on the who was that? They won their last 2 against. Was it the Pirates?
Pirates,
I'm trying to remember that.
I was going to guess Pirates. It was so long ago. Was it last month?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was here in August, but all right. So, all right. So we get a little happy music going. But what a opening to the first inning. I mean, Ramos leads it off, and then Devers follows it up with another blast, and they've got 2-0 before you even, grab your hot dog and sit in your seat. It's 2-0. Then Adames, I can't remember what he did. I think he grounded out or something of that nature. And then Schmidt doubles down the left field line, and then Flores knocks one out, and it's 4-0. And you're thinking, dang, the Giants brought their hitting shoes, and then it just stopped. 8 innings of nothing. And
they had chances. They just couldn't do anything. They had 2 guys on, nobody out. They just couldn't get the big hit after to add on.
Yeah. So the Giants moved their record to 61-64 on the season. As I mentioned yesterday's show, last night's show. This is kind of what they do, Lou. They win when you think they're going to lose, and they lose when you think they should win. But right now they're sitting at 61-64. They gain a half game on the Mets. The Reds win tonight, so they don't gain there. But let's discuss this.
Dan, Giants, you know what's ironic is, remember, it's 4-3, and San Diego thought they had a homer, and it was reversed.
Yeah, I want to get it.
Amazing how that happens, where that one run you don't think early is going to mean anything.
I texted a group that said I would protest, but I don't know if you can protest a judgment call. But if you could, I would have put the game under protest, because now the thing about that call, there was no touching of the glove of Ramos, but it is possible that the fan's hand got in the sight of Ramos seeing the ball at the last second, and that is interference by rule, the sight line. So
you can't play it, can you? Just so everyone, in case you didn't see it in the chat, could.
I don't know if I can play it because I could play it from my Twitter where I put it out there, but
Okay, yeah, because I heard it on the radio. I have not seen it yet, but the radio said one thing, and then TV sort of said something else. So I was just, wondering. Not a big deal. I can look it up later, but I just knew that would be, when you get a controversial like call, especially if you're the home team, it always seems to come back and haunt you. That's all I wanted.
Oh, okay. You can't protest anymore. They got rid of that. Interesting. Okay, maybe because of the reviews or whatever. They just said no more. They don't want any playoff games for teams that tie. It's all broken by in-season head-to-head, and they don't want any protests. They just want they want a runner on second base to start the 10th inning. They want speed.
Yeah.
Just, hey, but it's okay. We'll allow gambling, and then we'll bust guys for betting on games. I mean, look, if you're going to have bets out there on first pitches, you're going to have more problems like what they have going on with Cleveland and Clase and the other guy
from the same team, and two from the same team, and you don't see the owner. The owner should probably have been fined $1 million. The manager probably shouldn't have been suspended, but baseball's doing whatever they can. I know we'll talk about it later, but now there's possible, realignment, which I saw where the Giants would be horrible. We'll talk about it after our players of the game in the game.
Yeah. And we'll get into the players of the game. We'll pull that up about 9:45. Dallas should be joining us around then. I am going to see if I can pull up this.
All right.
Play.
And Dan, what did you think about Melvin keeping Ray in? I mean, it was only the 6th inning. The 7th inning, but he'd only gone 6 2/3. He was already at 103 pitches when he gave up the homer.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it just because
lefty.
The matchup favors him, and also, you had the double error by Schmidt.
But that ball was hit hard.
Which one? To Schmidt?
The one to Schmidt. I thought it was hit hard.
I think it was a playable play. He had it,
and then he rushed it. But it happens.
It just, what happened was he got it in his glove, and as he pulled it up, if you've ever had a ball, hold on here, I'll show you right here. If you've ever had a ball right here when you get it,
and you pick
it up, and it's and if you don't squeeze it tight enough, it's gonna
it
falls out, and so should have been just a routine play, even though it looks a little difficult. I think it was more of a routine play. He should have ate it. He should have ate it, but he tried to compound his mistake of dropping the ball and then hurried the throw and allowed the run to come in, which would have been the second out if he got the ball cleanly. The next batter made an out, which would have been the third.
Yeah, they're all unearned.
Right. So they're all unearned. So double error, it's going to happen, but you can't make that mistake of compounding your error. And then you see that all the time from infielders, especially third basemen, because they think rush. They rush. They think they can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just need to scoop that ball up. And if you don't get it, learn to live another day.
Yeah.
Learn to live another day, man. Yeah. So let's, yeah, I mean, he had a good night. Like Dallas said, he was having a good night all night, a little cocky, thinking he was invincible. Got to stay humble out there. I don't know if it's cocky. I think it's more of like, shoot, I got a cannon. Maybe it is a little cocky, thinking you got a cannon, you can get him. But it was, it's kind of, you got to learn that, and he'll learn that by this mistake is that when you drop a ball and don't compound the mistake by throwing it away, just eat it. And that's something, he'll learn with time. So
All right. So Dan, I just saw the homer that got taken away. I think the Giants got a gift.
I believe they did too, Lou. I put it out there.
I finally saw it for the first time because on the radio, there's a little delay. You just hear the crowd. It's not like the fan. But you know what? Hey, maybe the Giants are due for a few breaks. And they wind up winning, so nothing bad. But I saw it for the first time, and
that's the way baseball goes. Breaks.
It does. You get your ups and downs. And then the other thing too is I know the manager got suspended. If that was the roles were reversed, would Melvin have gotten thrown out?
Well, the only reason he got thrown out, he walked out, and the umpire said, "You can't come out here," because it was a review, and he wanted to just get an explanation, and he just kept walking. He wasn't yelling and screaming, but he.
Oh, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have got thrown out. I'm saying if the roles were reversed and it was the Giants, would Melvin have gone out? And he's obviously trying to protect the player.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Being a man, a player's manager. That's all I was bringing up.
Yeah,
Again, it was just, the thing. Okay, go ahead.
I love the beginning of the home run though. There's a fan in the. Well, let me see if I can actually show it to you guys. There's a fan that's like leaning over the fence, like he's incomplete. He's going.
No, okay. Now it wasn't the guy in the Giants with the big ass F in the front row.
No, okay. It was the Padre guy in brown. Watch this to see if see if I can get this. All right, you guys are okay. Let me. There's the play. Look, okay. Not so sure. Okay, let's take a look at that again. Trying to get to the replay of it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, I see. So it's the guy in the Padres saying right there.
See, it's in his sight though. He can't see. So that's what they probably ruled is the sight. Let me come on.
I mean, you got to remember how high up he is too. I think what's his name just missed it.
Well, it looks like, but it could be because of the eye.
The eye.
The guy's hand gets in front of the guy's hand. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But watch the beginning of this. Watch this guy right here in the brown. What right here? This guy. Watch this guy.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
No.
Incomplete.
Incomplete. That's actually pretty funny, but I think that was a
as the guy above his hands are like this. He never moved.
He never touched Ramos, but I don't know if if his hands went over the fence, even though he didn't touch it, because if your hands are on the fan side of the field, you can
do whatever you want. Yeah.
So I'd have to keep looking at it in slow motion over and over
because
again.
Ramos doesn't close the glove. His glove is open when it hits it and it goes in. Well, regardless.
Yeah, the only thing is it's possible that he thought it was going in. The guy's hand went, and then maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. All right, we'll move on.
But Giants will take it. They can use a break. The Dodgers did lose tonight to the
Rockies. Won 4 in a row.
Keep winning. Yeah.
Yep.
And so the Padres don't lose any ground to the Dodgers, which is good in a way because I think we all would be rooting for the Padres to win the division, and they've got a big weekend series in San Diego this weekend, the Dodgers and the Padres.
And the Giants did beat a lefty. So, we got to give them a little credit. They've been so bad.
Yeah. Dylan Miller says they said it hit the thumb in the stands. Yeah. I don't know, Dylan. They probably have different angles that they can slow it down in New York and maybe freeze frame it. I did not particularly see it hit his thumb, hit the glove in any way, but I'm pretty sure if maybe again, I think it could have gone down to the sight line, which again is what happens. All right, Mind Minidar. That sounds like a horse almost. Minidar. We're going to be at the horse track at Del Mar this weekend, Lou.
Yeah, Friday
should
and
be
Saturday.
fun. Should be fun.
And we'll be at a rocking day crowd. The Giants and Padres. If you saw that crowd tonight, I mean, it was sold out. It was packed.
Yeah. Oh, the atmosphere in San Diego is like no other. Yep. I love that stadium. In fact, I have a home run call. We'll bring in Dallas to the stage, and he's ready to take a drink of, what is that, bourbon, scotch? What do you got? Whiskey? What are you drinking there tonight?
Oh, just water tonight.
Just water. Okay, very good. And Rob,
it's a Monday.
There we go. 599 says, I want to see a little more cockiness out of this team. You need to play with some swagger. We can all agree to that. They need swagger. Yes. I like seeing Devers out there having some smiling on the field. That shows me he's engaging with his teammates. I think Rafael Devers, guys, and this is something that we're going to probably talk about all off season. He looks more engaged as a player, playing, not just being a DH, being in the game. He's not a bad fielding first baseman. He's making he's getting
I thought that
better.
One catch was pretty nice. I think it was the bottom of the eighth.
The pop
that ball. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty nice play.
Well,
I don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, he kind of overran it a little bit. Then he had to reach. But I thought the play the night was for him was the grounder to first. Was that in the ninth or when he threw to? Was it Rodriguez or Walker?
Yeah, Rodriguez. Yeah, that was in the ninth.
So first out. First out.
Back to back. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought. And let me give Rafi Devers. Hey, look. The one thing we'll do here at NorCal Sports Network is we will tell it like it is. We will bash when bashing is necessary, and when praise is warranted, we'll do that too. Him beating out that double play tonight,
yeah.
I thought, oh, he's out by 30 feet.
Me too. I don't know how he did it. He's so slow.
I know. All of a sudden, he's beating it out. The guy had to be really putting it in fifth or sixth gear to beat that thing out. That was not like a slow roller. It was a quick exchange, and I thought, oh, he's out easy. So we'll give Rafi Devers some kudos tonight for hustling and showing that, I'll say this, and I want to get your guys' comments. We've talked a lot about Melvin, but it doesn't look like these guys are quitting on him.
Well,
give me your takes.
Professionals. I mean, they are professionals.
Not the last two games.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's a different team that we saw. I mean, in some ways, I can get into that. But before you get off of Devers, last night's game, I wasn't on here, but he threw a seed to third base and doubled off Hassan Kim. And having that third baseman arm at first base is kind of nice, So I like seeing that.
Agree. Good call.
Yep. Kitchen Handy throwing this out. You're a little late. We already discussed the exact same thing, Kitchen. You probably didn't think we would get down on Schmidt, but we did. Everybody wants to point out Casey's mistakes because they think I won't call him out. It's pretty funny. But, yeah, that was.
When you get two errors on one play, that's a mistake.
Hard to do.
Just limit it to the one error. You mess up and that's it.
Eat it, but he got overzealous.
Other than that, he played a great third base. He had 3 really great plays at least.
Yeah, I mean, you feel comfortable with him down there, and as any big leaguer, he's going to make mistakes. Just don't compound it. And I think you got to. You learn from it. And you know what? I texted him today and was asking him how he was feeling. He said he was feeling much better, which is great because, this is his hometown. So he's getting to play in front of his family and friends. And I think I don't know if he's played in San Diego before as a Giant. He may have, I'm sure, but I don't know if he's been a regular, like right now he's a fixture in the lineup, whether it's at third base filling in for Matt Chapman or second base when Chapman's back. my understanding on the Chapman thing, we did make some comments about his hand being maybe a kind of a pseudo type injury. I think he does have some swelling. He did get a cortisone shot. So he probably just rushed himself back. The Giants, rushed him back. So we'll say, we'll take that back and say he is actually truly hurting. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, my thing is, if the Giants are smart, do not rush him back until he's 100%. There's no need to get Matt Chapman back in this lineup. And if you win 10 in a row without him all of a sudden, and you say, well, we definitely got to get him back now because we're in it and he's not 100%, the fact that you won 10 in a row to get back in the race just shows keep going, right? I mean, don't bring a guy in and upset the apple cart. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he gets well and see what happens going the rest of the way. Your thoughts tonight on the Giants' overall play, Dallas?
I think that, they had this bad stretch of games, and that's been rough. But this game was like the microcosm of the Giants the rest of the season. They got 4 runs in the first, which was great, but then they just went into offensive futility the rest of the game. They had 4 hits and walked 6 times and didn't score another run after the first inning the whole game. So really this game came down to Robbie Ray pitching outstanding and gave it its all, pitched 6 strong, comes in for the 7th, and probably gets out of it if it's not for the defensive. It's hard to say, it probably would have been easier. He probably wouldn't have given up so many runs if it wasn't for the error, but or the 2 errors. But he was running out of gas there at the end. I would have had the bullpen warmed up a little faster, like they were coming out and stalling for time in the 7th inning when Ray was starting to show signs of cracking. He'd already thrown 94 or 97 pitches or something, so they were trying to get as much out of them as possible. I can see it both ways. Yeah, you don't want to take him out early when he might still have gas left in the tank, and then the bullpen blows it, and then you look bad. But then you leave him in there, and so you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're Melvin at that point, so I'm not going to fault him that much. But what did happen tonight, which happened throughout the whole season, was that the bullpen came in and figured out a way to get the job done. Walker and Rodriguez came in, shut him down, got the save. A 1-run game like we saw so many times in the past, and a big win tonight. This was the classic Giants of 2025 before this skid that we've had since the Devers trade. So hopefully they're getting back into that brand of baseball. Sure, it would be great if they knocked in runs throughout the game. They had 2 on runners at second and third a couple of times and couldn't get anything done. And that's just how it goes for them. But, at least they had the grit in the end to hold down the close win. So,
yeah,
I like it.
And also, guys, this was a game if you're going to get 1 or 2 games in this series, you got to get this first one with Robbie Ray. You have to, because tomorrow night it doesn't get pretty with Kai Teng on the mound. And then Wednesday, I think it's Roop Wednesday, and then Thursday it's Verlander. So this was the game. If you thought the Giants had a shot at really getting at least 1, this was the one you would pick. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Yeah. Now, if they somehow win with Kai Teng, then the Padres are reeling, and
that'd be 5 straight losses.
Yeah, this would be 5 straight.
And Verlander has pitched well the last 3 or 4 starts.
Midar won 8 of 16, trained by Mark Hennig. Okay. There we go.
NYRA, New York.
Oh, so
Racing
Minidar
Association.
was a horse when I said sound like a horse.
Yeah.
Okay, I was right.
And Dan, one thing I know Dallas is talking about the pitching. I thought the home plate umpire was horrible tonight.
Oh,
he was so
awful.
inconsistent. In fact, the last batter of the game, and I don't know why they didn't talk more about it, but it was 2-2. The guy thought he was going to get like a slider. The ball was right in, should have been strike 3, and the umpire called it a ball, so it forced it a full, a 3-2 full count. And the pitch was right there. I thought this home plate umpire was all over the place. And, it was just one of those things where I thought the pitching, even though the umpire was horrible, really stood out. You got to
take a look at this. Take a look. This is the bat earlier to Willie Adames. Look at pitches 1 and 3 called strikes. So it would pitch 2, clearly a ball way up high. Should have been a 3-0 count, but it was a 1-2 count instead. So what that does is it changes the whole trajectory of the bat. It changes everything. 3-0 versus 1-2. So I'm predicting, as I said in my tweet here, that I predict next year that you will have, I'll just get rid of that. Let me clean that out. I think you're going to have a little bit of higher batting averages next year. Why do I say that? Because when the challenge system comes into play, I believe there are more balls called strikes than strikes called balls. But maybe it's like 60-40, but I see a lot of calls that umpires give that are outside, and they're going to do this next year. Adames would have been able to do this twice in that at bat, and he would have been right both times. And that's why I say look for guys' batting averages to tick up 4 or 5 points on average next year, because they'll be in more favorable counts, because umpires are constantly putting guys in bad counts because of bad calls.
And hopefully it serves to train the umpires a little more. They're going to have to adjust their game or they're going to look bad. So
Could you imagine doing this like 3 times in one bat and the guy's wrong all 3 times? It's like,
it's going to happen. So it'll enforce. Right now, there's no penalty for making a bad call. So, looking bad is a penalty. So they're going to have to step up their game.
Maybe they get sent down to the
minors.
Maybe they get sent down to the minors like players that don't perform.
I wish that would be. I wish it was just that they have their scorecard, and the worst ones get demoted, and then the best ones from AAA get brought back up, and you're constantly trying to have a crop of the best umpires available. If they did that, they wouldn't need the ABS system.
Right.
But they don't. They just let the guys come in, and you can call balls and strikes for 20 years. And if you suck, there's nothing we can do about it. It's a union.
Right. Hey, I think we're getting threatened. Is this a threat, guys? Jay says, I'm sick of the negative vibes issued by this channel. Clean up your attitude or I will not return. That's kind of like that lady on that plane. That man is not real. I'm telling you, that man is not real. Jay will not return to our channel if we don't clean it up. But NC,
I thought we've been positive tonight.
Yeah. He says, Jay, cringe, only realist vibes here, my guy. There we go. Come on, Jay. Lighten up, Francis. Lighten up. We're just having a little fun. We're telling it like it is. If you want the cheerleader squads, they're all over the internet if you want to go find them.
And if you want negativity, come on a night where the Giants look completely lost at the plate and get aren't trying. They're just playing a bad brand of baseball. But tonight, they had some fight in them. So
yeah,
I pretty positive.
I don't think we've said a critical. I think the most critical word I've said is Casey Schmidt should have not thrown that ball and compounded a mistake. What are we supposed to say? They played pretty good ball tonight.
Yeah, they played good enough to win, and they survived. I mean, Dallas brought up a good point. 8 hits and 6 walks. That's 14 guys on. And, you know, if you take away the
but
first
if
inning.
you wipe away the first inning, they get shut out, you know. So,
Yeah.
But they had the first inning. And the other thing is 10
you
Ks.
can't take it away.
You can't have 10 Ks again, another double figures, you know.
Yeah, Bobby Evans, I'm seeing some things in the chat. I could reach out to Bobby and see. I don't know if with some of my comments, hopefully he had heard those. He'll come on, me calling out the Giants not being very great front office, but we'll try. Cole says, sometimes positivity makes the loss go down a bit smoother, though. Just saying. Well, that's what a cold beer's for after that's what you have a cold beer for, Cole. I don't know. Maybe Cole's underage. I think Cole's only a teenager, if I recall. Maybe he's not able to have a beer. But so, yeah. You know, part of my therapy when the Giants lose is just telling it like it is and having some fun. Look, I don't. Maybe it comes with age. I'll be 64 tomorrow, guys. Maybe it comes with age. I was crushed in my teens and 20s and 30s when the Giants lost. I was up high the days they won, you know. So about 50% of for 6 months, I was up or down. You know, that's not a fun way to live. You're best just taking it like it is. It's a game, and, you know, find enjoyment in things like relationships, you know, people, family, your pets. That's where I find, you know, well, if you want to know the real truth, I find my real truth and satisfaction in my faith. Okay. That's what motivates me is my faith. So I don't have these fluctuations of up and downs like I used to. I mean, I was a wreck for years, man. I was so pissed off when the Giants would lose, and, you know, I couldn't have relationships because I was so upset. And then I was a really super guy when they won. You know, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. So just now I find joy in so many other things, and the Giants win, great. Enjoy it. They lose, okay, no big deal. I got a lot more to my life than relying on the Giants, the 49ers, or the Warriors to feed my satisfaction for the day. I mean, imagine if you got sports about 340 days out of the year that you're thinking about your team and you're up and down. You're going to be, you know, I think they got these what do they call them, counselors and psychologists that make tons of money off of people like that. So take it easy, guys. It's just a game, and don't get too worried. You know what? Somebody taught me once, have your expectations lower so that if they go past your expectations, you'll be thrilled. And if they meet your lower expectations, you're not disappointed.
Yeah. And plus, the good teams win, 6 out of 10, and the bad teams win 4 out of 10. So everyone's fighting over these 2 games in the middle. There
we go, Lou. Look at this. It's my birthday in the Midwest right now. It is now it is August 19th, somewhere in Iowa or Nebraska. So
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. So I'll take that. He says, hit the pick 6 this weekend. Well, thank you, Mini Dar. We got to hit the pick 6. I will rely on Lou for that. I am along.
I'm not a big pick 6 guy. I'm more pick 3, pick 5, and that's it.
Okay, pick 3, pick 5. I will
doubles.
I will just follow what Uncle Lou tells me to do. But Uncle Lou
tells
says
the group.
I just follow. I don't think for myself except with the horses. I'm the kind of guy that says, oh, there's a horse named something Dan in there. I'll take that guy. Or Emma, after my daughter. There's Emma. I think I don't I don't read the what do you call them? The charts? What do you call them, Lou?
Racing form? The racing form?
Okay, racing form. See, there goes my knowledge right there. So, yeah. Beto says, your birthday is the 19th, Dan. Awesome. Mine is the 20th. All right. Hey, Beto, thanks. Happy birthday to you. We'll Wednesday night, we'll make sure you're here. We'll, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Dom Peralta in the house. His mother is a mutter.
Seinfeld. One of the best ever.
Yeah, Seinfeld's awesome. So,
all right, Dan, why don't we give the players of the game?
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't you guys go first? I'll go
Dallas,
last.
Go ahead. We waited for you. You can go first. You can have the honors. Oh, Dallas, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. All right, let's go from 3 to 1.
Okay.
And where's my box score out here? Okay. So 3, I'm going to go with let's see. We're going to go with Robbie Ray, number 3. He got into some trouble at the end, but he pitched great, and he's the only reason why the Giants really won this game. So maybe he should be number 1, but we'll go with Robbie Ray. I'm going to go with Devers, number 2. I think he played a good first base, and he hit the second home run of the game on the second the first pitch he saw and the third pitch of the game, and got off to a hot start. But my number 1, I'm going to go with Elliot Ramos.
Ooh.
Ramos came into this game with the controversy. He kind of called out the fans accidentally as he was trying to take the back of his manager. And there was kind of some, I don't know, he probably made a mistake saying that. And he came out and told the press that he made a mistake and he loves the fans and he doesn't want to say anything bad about the fans. And so he was, but I think maybe he kind of came out with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and knocked the second pitch of the game over the fence and got up to a hot start. But then he made a great play in left field. He made another play jumping up and saying, the fan interfered with me, and New York agreed with him. And, that pissed off the San Diego fans, so they were booing him the rest of the game, which I liked. I like a little bit of, if you're hated by the other team, that means you're doing something right. So I think he did great there. So I'll take Devers. Not Devers, Ramos, and he had a good game, and I liked what he brought to the table tonight.
All right, let's just, before we get to Lou's 3, I just want to touch on this Ramos statement with the fans. I'm wondering if Ramos was kind of thinking one thing and said it wrong the way it was interpreted, because he was first talking about Melvin as a player's manager. He's a great manager, and I think, and he was
he was talking about the fans turning on Melvin, not the fans.
That's what I think.
On the team.
That's what I think he meant to say. He said that where were they in the beginning? They were all for us, and then now we're playing bad. I think he meant to say now they're turning on Melvin, and he made it into the team. And I think there can be a little bit of translation. My wife's from the Philippines, and sometimes she'll say the wrong word, which she means something different. And if you come from a different culture, sometimes you'll say it just slightly wrong, and
you say it the way it's written correctly, but when you say it, that's not the way you're supposed to say it. Right. And maybe he was thinking out loud. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think he would turn on the fan. Ramos doesn't seem like a guy that is against the fans. I've met him. He's a super nice guy. I've got an interview we could play on this. We've played it before.
Right. And the fans have been nothing but supportive of this team. I mean, they went on a historic landslide there at home,
Right.
losing 13 out of 14 or whatever it was. They were so bad, and the fans showed up. They were still at the park cheering. They sold a lot of tickets this last homestand, more so than I would have thought they would, because they're losing every night. So I think the fans have been there to support the team despite the fact that they've been so bad.
Yeah. I think so. I do not believe that Elliot Ramos is turning on the fans at all. If you know Elliot, he's a super down to earth guy. And sometimes if you're from another country, culture, sometimes you start to say things in the English language can be really hard to decipher at times, the meaning of words and stuff. Hey, Justin, happy birthday to your wife as well tomorrow. All right. That's cool. August 19th. I'm sure she was born way after 1961, though.
Hey, Dan, I'm going to give you a warning. At that Cubs game, you better hold me back, because I'll make sure Ramos makes sure that I'm a real fan and I'm there. And if he doesn't give me a ball or a foul thing, I'm going to tell him, hey, you know what? You don't like the fans? Let's go, you and me in the back. I'll be right there, and you can hold me and you can be my witness.
All right, I'll hold you back.
I just think it was taken out of context. You got to remember, a lot of these foreign guys, if they're speaking, if they write it down and they think it comes across one way, when they say it, and, he might not be the brightest guy. It came in the wrong way, and he corrected himself. So that's what most guys do.
Yeah.
And he did it right away. It's not like, hey, it's 3 weeks later and they bring up the topic and then he did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the key.
Yeah. And there's probably some little frustration too. Like NorCal Sports Talk Live says, it's dangerous game talking about fans. Just say they're great and leave it at that. Yeah. That's all you could do. I mean, the San Francisco fans are, look, if this team was in Philadelphia or New York or Boston and they played the homestands, they played and lost 13 of 15 or whatever the heck it was.
Refund.
They would have been, they would have been screaming, yelling. They would be booed the whole. I mean, it would be embarrassing, because you would have to have Greg Popovich stand up and say, hey, stop the booing. This is, it's like, remember when he did that on Kawhi Leonard?
Rick Barry, yeah.
Yeah,
What's
Rick
wrong
Barry
with you guys?
Joe Lacob. Yeah.
I mean, Ramos is learning a lot this year. He's learning the infield fly rule, and he's learning you don't call out the fans. So he'll be just fine.
He'll be fine. I like Ramos. I'm not going to get on him too much. All right, Lou, who's your three players of the game?
Well, I think you got to give. I'm going to give it. Ray is my number one. He kept the Giants in it.
Oh, you're going to go forward to back. You're not going 3-2-1.
3-2-1. I'm going to give Ray number the 3-star, because he did do a shutdown inning. I wish they would have taken him out earlier. Again, I think that's more Melvin. I still think he's the worst manager ever when it comes to the bullpen. I don't know how many times I've seen it this year. He's done this extra inning when the pitcher's already qualified for a win. There's no reason for him to come out in the 6th. And the other thing is, the pitching coach came out. They kept showing the bullpen. They got off the phone, and it's almost like it means nothing. And I think that's one of the problems with the Giants is, not only is I think Melvin lost a team, I think sometimes among these coaches, they don't really communicate too well. It's the same thing like when they do the challenges, so I think that's something they have to work. But I'm going to give Ray the number 3-star. Number 2-star, you didn't mention, but I thought Flores. I sort of forgot he's been on the team. He's been so quiet. Last time he had a homer, I can't remember. He's my number 2-star. I thought he was huge. Again, the add-on, which we talk about a lot, was really big. And then my number 1 star, because I know you'll probably give Ramos, is I'm going to give a little bit, because I think we've been sort of down on the Giants bullpen, but I thought Walker today pitched pretty good. And I thought it was clutch. I thought Rodriguez is Rodriguez in the 9th, but that 8th inning is tough. And, even though he gave up a couple hits, he didn't give up the big one. You know what I mean? Where the Giants normally have that effect where they the pitcher comes in, two guys on, they give up a double and it's too late. But so I'm going to give him a little credit. And, hey, he held the lead. He didn't blow the save, and he got it to the ninth and the win. So that'll be
and he got a third of an inning. He had to sit down and come back in and pitch another
tough.
Full inning.
Yeah. Agree.
Credit.
He had the seventh inning. He shut down then the ninth. Yeah. So I'm going to give those would be my big three.
All right. Let me get to Ned says, did the Giants try to trade for Luis Robert Jr.? I don't know. Didn't hear anything. So I can't vouch for that one. But thank you, Ned. All right. I was looking at some things in the chat, and I wanted to address this comment. Did I star it? Let me see if I did. It was from Jill, but I didn't get to it. The 222, where did it go? Hold on. When we go back into
10-11.
10-11. Thank you.
10-11. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if Jill's talking to the chat or if she is talking to the three hosts about, let me see, where did it go? Here it is. There it is.
He must not have been listening the last week or two.
Goodness, you guys are the masters of excuses. Maybe you got a beef for the team, but sheesh, my Red Sox podcasters give zero excuses, and here it is, over the top excuses. Maybe she's talking about because of Ramos, maybe? I mean,
no, Devers probably.
I'm not sure. Have we given any excuse? Maybe she's talking to the chat. Jill, maybe you could clarify that. Not sure. She's saying everyone. Okay, so everyone is all right. So the three of us.
Well, maybe she's saying how, and we've talked about this. Our announcers are homers. Our announcers are so bad that we are actually listening to the opposing team's announcers. I can't take Kruk and Kuip anymore. Our Hall of Famer makes mistakes. Fleming, he complains about every single at bat. She might be talking where when the Red Sox lose, there is no excuses. Hey, the Red Sox lost because they sucked. Where the Giants, when we lose, it was because of the ballpark. Oh, because it was the wind. Oh, because the umpire. I think maybe that's what she's stating. But if you've been listening all year, I'm not called Mr. Salty for nothing. Dan speaks his mind. Dallas isn't a homer either. We say like it is. We're not on the Giants payroll. And when we lose, we actually have more people in the chat because they want to hear from real fans. If you want to hear homerism, listen to Bill Lasky after every game, no matter what. Don't worry. If the Giants go 25-15 in the last 40 and two teams ahead of us, have losing records, we still have a chance for the wild card. This team's not going anywhere, but we are also hoping that the young guys can get a little experience so we can look forward to 2026.
Yeah, and well said. I was listening to the Miami Marlins broadcast tonight because, I'm listening and I'm watching different games because I'm playing fantasy baseball, and so I'm trying to the ninth inning see, and the Marlins announcer saying all over the team saying this is a horrible the way they played. And I don't even know who it was, but he must have been an ex-player. He said, I played under Tommy Lasorda and Dick Williams. You bet I was going to get my butt chewed out, or the team was, if we played bad. He said, so this team deserves to be, they should have won this game tonight. And, I was like, wow, never heard anything like that from our broadcasters. Like, it's all, and you know what? I really do think it has something to do with the philosophy of the ownership group. I think these guys are told what they can, and look, keep it positive, if you have to get critical, draw the line at don't get too critical, because the most you get to hear out of guys is, oh, he's really struggling right now. This is like, you don't get to
Dan, that was a loud out. He almost made it to the warning track.
Yeah, I really do think it has something to do with the ownership group. Jill says Ramos said what he said. Raffy, if he didn't hear those comments myself, was behind Raffy, still is. But when you tell a GM to do his job, I knew he was gone. Okay, yeah, they don't take it back there. I used to live in New England. I know what it's like. I was right in the middle of in Connecticut between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it was 50-50. You were either Yankees, so only knew a few Mets fans, mostly Yankees and Red Sox, and they couldn't stand each other. Let me get to my three tonight. I'm going to go a little different, I think, as always. Let's see if I can drum up three guys that nobody's covered yet. Might be hard to do. Everybody's taken Ramos, Devers, Flores, right? Maybe I'll take Drew Gilbert for coming into right field and defensive replacement, doing nothing, just standing there. No. I'm going to go with my number 3-star. This is hard, guys, because you guys, I guess we might just have to pick the same guys, because I'm going to go number 3. I'm taking Devers, hit the big home run, played good defense. Number 2, I'm going to go Robbie Ray. Pitching is huge. And number 1, just to be a little different, I'll go with the save master tonight. Rich Rodriguez came in through 15 strikes out of his 23 pitches. He struggled his last outing, blew the save, and, he's learning the closer job. So I'm going to give a little love out to Rich Rodriguez. And I want to say this. I like what the Giants are finally doing with Tyler Fitzgerald. Okay? He's not an everyday player. I said this from day one in the offseason. If you watch this channel, I said, Tyler Fitzgerald, I want him to be our super utility player like Chris Taylor. I've been saying it for over a year. I was listening to the Giants podcast that they put out on NBC Sports Bay Area with Alex Pavlovich and Cole Kuiper. Was listening to it today, and I heard Alex Pavlovich say that he thought he used the exact words, super utility, like Chris Taylor. And I thought, hey, I don't know if I was the original thinker of that or what, but I'll take credit for it anyway. But I like the Giants moving Fitzgerald around. Right field, center field, left field, second base, third base, shortstop, first base even. He can play all 7 positions besides pitch and catch. Make use of your guys that are tired and need a day off. Fitzgerald's probably a guy that should be playing 3 days a week, okay? If he's hitting, let him play some more. But he's not an everyday player at this point in his career. At this point. If Schmidt's going to be playing third while Chapman's out, just keep playing Koss. And maybe you give Koss a day off and puts Fitzgerald in there if Koss is like on an 0 for 10 mini slump or whatever. Then you say, okay, we're going to give Fitzgerald a shot. But this is what the Giants have to realize is Fitzgerald can be an asset to the team. He doesn't have to be an everyday starter. He could use his speed to play different positions, to come in late in the game and pinch run for, one of the slower players. And let's start getting guys in the proper positions. That's what I want to see in this offseason. I think the Giants need to address some, they need to go out and find an everyday right fielder. I don't think Gilbert or Matos or any of the other young guys are ready to take that position on. You got to find an experienced right fielder that can play 150, right? 150 games in right field, 140 minimum, right? Somebody that's going to be that guy. And second base, if you don't make a trade, I like Casey being a guy that can play second base. We've seen his bat improve. His bat quality is getting better. First base, I think this is going to be the interesting offseason, guys, because is Eldridge going to come up next year and start the season? Is he going to be, He's striking out about 33% of the time right now in Sacramento. He's got incredible power. His exit velocity is like 95.5, which would make him the second highest exit velocity in all of baseball behind O'Neal Cruz. Okay. So the guy's got phenomenal potential and power, but is he, to me, and I've said this over and over again, and I know I sound like a broken record. Here it comes, guys. If you're going to keep this team together and not make any significant changes, if Chapman, Adames, Devers are all part of the lineup next year and going forward, you've got to change the dimensions, because we see what they do on the road. This team hits decently, especially the long ball. They can drive it. Those balls tonight probably aren't home runs in Oracle. At least one or two of them are not going out. Okay. If you're going to play, and Ramos, let me throw Ramos into that power category. And you might even look at Schmidt. If you bring in the dimensions to Oracle, you might have a team that, instead of scoring 1 or 2 runs at home, doubles that. And because some of those
what
balls
about
are
the opposing
go out.
teams?
Well,
Right.
yeah, you got
the same dimensions for the opposing team. They're going to have more home runs too.
They are. You're going to have to out-hit them. You're going to have to out-slug them or something. Team is built right now for power. Chapman and Adames and Devers. It's not very good, especially at home. But these are what they've added. They've got 4 guys that are legitimate 25 home run hitters: Ramos, Chapman, Adames, and Devers. Okay, 4 guys that are legitimate 25-plus homers. And if the right dimensions, you probably have 3 of those guys hitting over 30.
All right,
but
let's first of all say 4 guys at 20. 4
no,
at
25. 4 would hit 25 in that ballpark. Ramos hit 23 last year. Chapman hit 27. Adames hit 31, 32. Devers hits over 30. These guys can hit 25 homers if they don't play in Oracle. So what I'm saying is, if this is your team, half of your lineup is swing and miss. When they hit it, it better go, because it's just a long fly ball for the most of the time, and this is why they don't score runs at home. I really
need to
think,
change their approach at home.
Well, how do you change your approach at home versus the road? You have to constantly change.
You don't swing for the fence. You try to get a base hit.
But that's not who they are, though. That's who these guys don't know how to. These guys aren't.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
That is. This is why I say the roster. You guys hear my frustration in that I say they're not going anywhere with this roster in the next few years, because they are swing and miss guys, and swing and miss guys are going to kill rallies. This is why the Giants got 4 runs tonight in 1 inning, and it's done. They are not rally type team. They're not a team that goes station to station. This is a team that is feast or famine. They're going to hit the long ball. They're going to occasionally get a guy on base, and they're going to drive him in with a double to the wall. They're going to get 1 run into. They're not built properly, because they have 1 man in the lineup in Jung-Hoo Lee who strikes out less than 20% of the time. That's it. The rest.
Yep.
So what do you do when you get runners on first and second and nobody out? You bunt them over, fine. Next guy strikes out and the next guy flies out, inning over. That's the problem. They don't have anybody that hits consistently for average. That's
the problem. You're right. Absolutely right, Dan.
And it's a problem going forward. And I don't know why I have to point it out. I'm not the GM or the president of baseball ops. They should be able to see this and look at this team and look how it's constructed and say, what are we going to do? We can't run this back next year and say it's a new year. We got a new attitude. We're feeling better. We had, a whole year under Buster now, and he's really even more engaged. And what is attitude can get you so far. I picked him to win over 80 games this year. In fact, like 86, not because of the talent. I thought the talent was a 500 team. Okay. But I factored in 5 more wins for vibe and attitude and feeling good. Because I've been on teams where if you're feeling good, you can actually get a little bit more out of the team. But they are an average team. Let's face it. They're an average team. They're not a 90-win team. They don't. Lou, I take that bet again next year if it's offered. They're not a 90-win team until they go out. There's a couple things that'll make them a 90-win team. Guys that have some speed, 2 or 3 guys that have speed and make contact and get on base a lot, or add 2 elite, not elite, but top 2 more guys that are closer to the Robbie Ray, like the Phillies have Suarez and Sanchez and Wheeler and I don't know. They got 4. I'm missing another one, but they got like 4 starters. If the Giants had 2 more starters that were legitimate starters, they would be able to compete. But they don't. And
I think
and
that's
they're not
what they
in
have
the
to do, Dan, because they're hamstringed by the people they sign. So you can put someone at right field that maybe hits for a little bit more for average. You can fill in these pieces. Maybe you can improve at catcher, add a second catcher that can hit, can actually hit, but those are minor improvements on the offensive side of the ball. On the pitching side of the ball, if you add a couple of legit starting pitchers, then you're in business. And I think that's what they have to do because there's not a lot of wiggle room on the offensive side of the ball.
And you got to be fundamentally sound. This team has been horrible defensively, horrible running the bases, horrible mentally. They don't hit behind runners, can't hit runners scoring position. There's a lot they have to do, but at least take a few steps, and a few steps could be 3 to 5 more wins. And we're not asking much. I mean, fundamentals is fundamentals. You guys have been the same since you were 6 years old. You should be able to hit a fly ball. Runner scoring position, you don't always have to strike out. When you have a guy in first and second, a guy gets a base hit, you should score. You shouldn't get thrown out of third. Just stupidity. A lot of times the Giants mentally were some of the dumbest moves I've ever seen running bases. Dan brought it up. I could do better. That's what we've said that phrase a lot. Unfortunately, Ramos defensively, big problems in left field. That's why tonight I think he got blessed because I think that was off him. But running bases, he had that situation twice in 4 days. And I think, once the Giants move on from Melvin, get better coaches, a little bit better communication, I think that's just one of the problems where I think we have too many guys that are playing for themselves and not playing team ball, making sacrifices, putting the bunt down, trying to suicide squeeze, doing stuff that other teams do. Get with a crowded ballpark at Oracle, get that place rocking. My God, I saw over the weekend, you go to Milwaukee right now, it's a frenzy. San Diego will be there live. It's going to be a frenzy on that day game. You watch Seattle, that hasn't had really a winner for a while. That place is crazy. It's almost like, you can barely hear yourselves. You got to put a product if you're going to fill the ballpark, not because you're giving away great stuff, because that over a period of time, you got to have a quality team. This year could be the problem where they might go 4 straight years of having identical records, and we keep blaming, it was Farhan. It's Buster. No, these players, they got to do something where these players got to play as a team and not, when they make a mistake, get a manager, old school, that sits the son of a bitch down for 2 days. He doesn't care. We need somebody that is going to gain respect and the players are going to be afraid of, because obviously I don't think they're afraid of Melvin at all because nothing happens. And I think maybe just a change on that. I think it could, 3 to 5 more wins.
Here's what I think is going to happen, guys. I think what's going to happen with this Giants team is They've got 37 games to go. They're 3 under 500 at 61 and 64. I think they make a late push in September with their schedule. They do have the Dodgers 7 times, 6 or 7, I think, but 7, I believe. But other than that, the schedule in September's not that difficult. You got Colorado for a couple series. You got St. Louis. I think the Giants make a late push and end up near 500, and they retain Melvin. I hate to say that, but I think that's what this team will do. The confidence that Ramos comes out today, the questions that was put out by Scott Osler about Melvin. I'm not sure if Scott Osler was doing that on his own or if he was directed by the Giants ownership to do that. I don't know. But I'm not saying this is what I would do. I'm just telling you what I think they will do. The only way I think they move off of Melvin is this team wins like 75 games or less. I think if they really struggle like they have been struggling and they don't show any fight, I think they make a move. But if they show the kind of fight they have the last couple of days, that they're not quitting, that they are going to go out and play hard, that Devers is going to beat out a double play ball that a week ago he would have jogged, right? Mm-hmm. I think he comes back. And that's what I'm projecting, that they finish up in a way that gives this team a feeling of like they're not dead. And I hate to say it, but I think we'll be having the same conversation on August 18th next year, that the team is in the same spot as they are.
I hope not, but I think you're right. If they play like they played on the homestand and they're just in a free fall, then obviously Melvin's gone. But if they show some fight like they did the last couple of 2 nights, then they won't have an excuse to let him go. So he'll be back.
All right. And Dan, I just want to say one thing. The last 2 games, they look good for 2 reasons. Their 2 best pitchers perform like good pitchers. What are you going to do when you put 3, 4, and 5 out? Tonight they struck out 10 times. They got 8 hits and 6 walks. They still didn't score after the first inning. And it is a win. Hey, it's 2 in a row. We'll take it. But, you had Webb yesterday. That was in total. Again, Webb pitched great. I'll give it. But as I said it, you got to remember Tampa Bay was their 12th game of a 12-game road trip in 13 days. The Giants would feel the same way. They didn't care about that game. They already won the series. They wanted to get home to the East Coast,
Yep.
So
you're right. Aside from
they had
the
every
first
advantage,
inning,
and
they had the same.
Right,
they had the same offensive problems, and it's only because the pitching showed up for the last 2 nights that they won. So they're not out of the woods yet.
Let's see the next 3 and 3 in Milwaukee, because San Diego with 4 losses are going to come out on fire tomorrow in the next couple of days, and we've already seen Milwaukee's a machine.
Yeah,
we'll see where this goes. Milwaukee, yeah.
I predicted yesterday 2 and 5 on the trip. Then I backed that up and said, watch him.
You got one.
Watch him pull the stunt of going 5 and 2 and throwing us all off and getting everybody thinking the Giants are still a viable team here for the rest of the year. Look, it's not going to shock me one way or the other if they go 2 and 5, even 1 and 6, or if they go 5 and 2. It won't shock me because that's the Giants. What would shock me if they went 3 and 4, 4 and 3, something like that, because then it would be like, oh, they were able to play 500 ball on this road trip. But this is where I don't. Oh gosh, Bill, come on. I want to say this about where this team we're going to talk about this a lot going forward because there's not a lot to, as the Giants play out this season. What I want to get is your guys' takes on this and the chat as well. What makes this team? What do you guys think will make this team better next year if they run it back with a change or two? They replace Verlander with another type of guy that is just a journeyman. He's not anything special. They throw in a Charlie Morton or whatever. I'm just throwing a name out, not that it'd be him. But they replace Verlander, or they even bring Verlander back. Don't be shocked if Verlander comes back. Do not be shocked.
Would not be.
Okay. Don't be shocked if he comes back on another 1-year deal. Okay. So let's say they run it back and they
bring back. Yes. Yeah.
Where do they find?
They'll bring back Verlander, or they'll bring back someone like him that's a fifth starter type, which is fine. They're going to need someone in that role, but they need to add another pitcher, another number 2 or a number 3, preferably a number 2, because then their rotation gets a lot deeper. Then they got 4 pitchers, and then they have, Birdsong or Roop or whoever can. I guess Roop's one of the 4, right? No, he would be the 5th. So then Birdsong and Roop can fill in and pick up that 5th spot. So that's what they need to do. Will they do it? I don't know. Pitchers are expensive, so we'll see on that. The other thing they can do is just fill in on the margins. They need a right fielder, and they got to do something with the catcher position. Either bring in like a legitimate number 2 catcher that can play half the time and come into games when, play against lefties, or come into games when, you need an extra offense that can. I don't know who that's going to be, but they need something there, because those are the 2 weak links, right field and catcher. That's what's going to happen realistically. Now, we've talked recently about figuring out a way to move Chapman so that you can move Schmidt to third base, and then you free up an infield position so that you could either get a shortstop or a second baseman and move Adames to second base. You can fill in there. Is that going to happen? It's a long shot, but
there you go, right there, Bo Bichette.
If they did it, it would be great, but it's going to be that's tough maneuvering for Posey. If you can do it, I'm all for it, but I don't see that happening. So it's going to be beef up the rotation, add in some extra pieces that we have holes for, and hope for the best.
Look, Bill, I agree with you a ton. Always appreciate your comments, but I'm going to disagree with you here on costs. He is not a full-time player, at least not in my opinion. And majority of baseball, the guy's never really had any big league shot until this year, and he's like 27, 28 years old. This guy, everybody thought Tyler Fitzgerald last year was, the next Barry Bonds for a while. And in fact, he was mentioned in a graphic with Barry Bonds last year when he was on that home run tear of like 8 or 9 in 10 games. I don't remember what it was, but look, Christian Koss, really good utility guy, nice guy to have as your team backup, guy that can fill in for a week, couple weeks, but he's not a full-time player. He's not going to look when the league figures him out. They'll find out where his soft spots are, and they'll just hone in on that. Just like Bryce Eldridge right now, he's cannot hit the curveball in the minor leagues. Like he's got a 55% K rate on the curveball. It was, well, I'll pull it up, but I was on this team. He's on this team. Yeah. But we're trying to improve the team and make it actually a contender. So I hear what you're saying though on this team. Yeah.
And
Dan, I don't want to go ahead. No,
I think they need to stop playing these 4A players. Actually give us professional players. a step up from the 4A. I'd rather they get 3 guys that are actually legitimate players, right? Like Yaz was a legitimate player, but to me, he was more of a fill-in. Koss, Fitzgerald, and all these guys, they're like 4As. They're between the pros and AAA. You give them, they might have a good couple of weeks, and then they have 3 weeks of disaster central. That's what a 4A player is. They got to get legitimate major leaguers. Stop being cheap. If you're not going to do and spend, $500 million on these guys, get 3 solid players. I don't know what to do. I think, the Giants are going to be stuck with what we have for a while. They're going to have to make a huge trade. And what Buster's got to do is, hey, forget about the fans. Let me do my job. Okay? Let me do my job. And if the team's not better in 2 years, I'll walk away. That's why this year, at the end of the year, if the Giants are below 500, I really want to see Buster's press conference, because after that press conference, you're not going to be able to say, oh, he's brand new in the job. He's going to realize he made mistakes, and he's got to stop being a homer. He's got to stop being everyone's buddy, because it's a business. You're going to go 4 years of being basically 500 below, where everybody else in baseball is getting better. Everybody else is adapting to the new bases. Everyone's adapting. Stop using excuses, and you got to do what's best. And if Buster has to fire Melvin, fine, fire him. Stop bringing guys back living in the past. And what I mean is, stop thinking about 10, 12, and 14. Baseball's changed. The Giants have to change. Stop bringing your buddies who were decent players on the committee. If you look at all the people that Buster bought in, everybody are all former players from 10, 12, and 14. Okay, well, baseball's changed. Why are you bringing guys, your buddies in? They're not making a difference. Our team's not getting better. You got to do something different. So,
yeah. And just to back up what Bill says, even though he doesn't like to hear me talk, Christian Koss has been one of the bright spots this year. I mean, most of this whole team has underachieved. All the people that are making the big dollars underachieved. Bailey underachieved. Everybody has underachieved, except Dom Smith has been good. Casey Schmidt has been good, better than expected. And Christian Koss has come in and I think has shown that he can be a legitimate off the bench player. Young guy, brings energy, bring him into the game. I don't think he's an everyday player, but he has been a spark off the bench and filling in where he needs to. And I like what I've seen from Koss. Just tonight, he turned an incredible double play there at second base. And, he's come up in huge clutch situations and hit home runs. He's been really good. So I like Koss. I like him playing over Fitzgerald. I think he just brings more to the table at this point, despite the fact that Fitzgerald had a really good year last year. So props to Koss for sure.
Let me give you guys a little bit of a readout here I found today on Bryce Eldridge. And this is something that Giants fans should be excited about and also concerned about. So few players in AAA come close to the level of offensive potential present in Eldridge's 6'7" frame. It has not been a good week, though, for Eldridge. In his last 5 games, he has 1 hit, a home run on August 10th. He recorded multiple strikeouts in each of those games, totaling 11 in that span. Despite the struggles, Eldridge's potential should be enough for fantasy. Okay, this is about fantasy baseball, but to explore adding him to their rosters. The aforementioned homer is evidence of his upside. Eldridge was beat by an inside fastball and hit what looked like a lazy fly to left field. A combination of the raw power that the lefty slugger possesses and the hitter-friendly nature of Sutter Park helped to carry the ball over the left field fence for Eldridge's 19th homer of the season. The glaring issue that critics have with Eldridge are still aforementioned strikeouts. His strikeout rate is hovering around 33% during his time in AAA, and pitchers have a clear game plan to retire the 21-year-old. The difference in whiff rates between fastballs, 18%, and breaking balls, 54.3%, is staggering. Major League Baseball pitchers will undoubtedly Take notice of that discrepancy and avoid giving Eldridge any sort of fastball to hit. That's the bad stuff covered. Now for the good news. Eldridge's 95.5 mile per hour AAA average exit velocity would rank second among big league hitters in between O'Neill Cruz and Aaron Judge. So he'd be a little harder than Aaron Judge. His hard hit rate of 58.9% would also rank second, only behind Kyle Schwarber among big leaguers. There's improvements that need to be made, but that level of power warrants a speculative ad. This is talking about, should Eldridge get a chance to face major league pitching this season. Okay, so what I just read to you, 54.3% whiff rate on curveballs.
And Dan, that's AAA pitchers' curveballs. Imagine when it's the major league curveballs.
Yeah, that's going to go up closer.
Makes me think we're not going to see him this year. I think that they need to leave it. He's only 20 years old. Leave him down there until he can figure out how to hit a curveball, until he can play a decent first base, and then you could bring him up. I mean, if he's going to come up and he's set up to fail, then why bring him up? So
there's a lot
until
of
you can
go both ways on that, Dallas. There's two schools of thought. One is what you just said: leave him down there, let him get more work. The other one is let him see what he really needs to work on by getting 100+ at bats and saying, "Oh my gosh, I got a lot to work on in this offseason if I'm going to be a big league hitter." So it's you can, and I can see either side of the fence with that too. I can go with either one. I don't know. The other question is, if somebody comes and offers you, and could Buster be thinking this? Could he be the trade bait to bring the type of players that they need, the Giants, to be competitive? Because Devers is now the first baseman, I believe, and he's here for 8 years. Are you going to make a 21-year-old a DH? That doesn't fit too well for young players generally. They're not used to just hitting. They're more involved in the game. I mean, you can make him in a corner outfield position possibly and DH occasionally, but if he's going to be here possibly next year, or are the Giants going to actually go, you know what? We just got Rafi Devers. 8 years is a long time. Figure 5 years of Rafi Devers probably peak, right? Peak Robbie, 4 or 5 seasons. And that's a long time to wait on a guy like Eldridge. He'll be 25, 26 by then. Do you move him because he's one of the big stars of the game in top 100? And what happens if you got 2 starting pitchers, like a number 2 and a number 3 for him, and you got a real quality second baseman? Let's say Miami said, you know what, we could use a young kid that's 21 years old, that power, we can build around him and Stowers and Marseille, and we got a bunch of power down here in Miami. We'll take a deal that gives us a little second baseman back, maybe in a I don't know, Christian Koss type guy, but we get Eldridge and Patrick Bailey, and they give up 2 starting pitchers, Xavier Edwards, who's a leadoff guy, who's a 300 hitter that it's got speed, got great range at second base, and then you get the catcher from Miami, which probably they won't give up, Agustin Ramirez, who's another guy that hits for power and he steals bases. He's athletic. That's something that, do you have that conversation in the offseason? If something like that gets offered, do you go, no, we're going to stick with the one guy versus maybe getting 4 quality players back? What do you think? And I'm not saying Miami would even do that.
I think that's a reason, because I don't think you can get that for him yet, because he hasn't proven that he can hit a curveball or that he can not strike out 33% of the time. So you leave him down there, you let him develop more. He's only 21. He's going to get stronger as he gets older. your power doesn't stop at 21. At 25, 26, you're going to be at your peak. So, he's only going to get better, I think. And so you don't rush him. You leave him down there, continue to develop. His value gets better either to you or on the trade market. So I think patience.
I'm not sure if his trade
Eldridge.
value could go up if he has a great season in AAA again, if he starts the year there and he's hotter than what, and he's the talk of Major League Baseball in the minors because he's tearing it up. Or I look at guys like Kobe Mayo. We've talked about Kobe Mayo on this show, like, oh, Kobe Mayo, like second coming, right? And this guy's going to be tremendous. Well, he's a 6'7" guy too. Kobe Mayo's a big guy, and he's just never in his, he's still young, but he has not caught on in the big leagues. And
right.
A lot of
that's
guys.
Why if you bring him up and he fails, what happens to his trade value?
Well, this is what I'm saying.
It doesn't go up.
This is what I'm saying. Why not trade him while his values is? If you could get a haul for him, because he is just a prospect. I'm not saying deal him, but if you got the right deal for Eldridge, and you got 4 major leaguers that are ready to come in and contribute,
you got to listen to those offers for sure.
You got to listen to those offers. You got to listen. I mean, Eldridge could become a superstar. I don't think he's going to be an average player. I think he's going to be a superstar, or he's going to be just, it's just not going to work. They're going to find the flaws. But I think he's athletic enough.
Even if he is a superstar, if you can benefit your team in the areas of need, like a first baseman that hits with power, they have now. A lefty first baseman that hits with power, they've got that. So if they can diversify and fill other needs, pitching, second base, right field, if they can fill in other areas, then it might be a better move for them, even if it's not popular, because he could be a superstar, like you say.
Yeah. Mark Graves is asking if he plays fall ball again this year. I think they give him time off. I think he's been playing a lot of baseball, and they're just going to let him rest. He played in the fall league last year. I don't think he has anything to prove in the fall league. He's facing better pitching in AAA than he's going to face in the fall league. So yeah, I don't think that's just my take, but I don't know, guys. Should be interesting. Lou, final thoughts?
I think you guys are way. Again, I've never seen him. I just see highlights on the show. I think we're making Eldridge way too good, and right now reality's happening. He's striking out way too much. I don't think he's maybe as good as we make it out to be. I think we're just so desperate and hoping that he's a superstar. And we now are having second thoughts, because last year at this time, they rushed him up to AAA. We were hoping, hey, he was going to be in the majors. Now reality's hit. You're telling me he's striking out against curveballs. That never came up last year. It never came up when he was in AA. I think what's happening is maybe we put him on a high scale and reality's hitting. You're talking, if we trade him, we can get players. I don't know if we can get as much as we're talking. I think, us being Giant fans, we're so desperate for the next superstar. I can't remember the last 10 years where we've actually had a superstars, except maybe for Devers. So I think, I think you're right. It can work both ways. But, I didn't know about all this. I didn't know about all these strikeouts. That's very alarming. And, I'll say it again. AAA is one thing. When you come to the show, it's a whole nother level.
Yeah, I agree, Lou. I agree that he's this is why I say you got to listen. If you get the great offers, look, we hear of prospects. I'm seeing some names in the chat, constant names, that come up, guys that are going to be great, and they just never materialize. Chris Shaw was supposed to be the next great power hitter, Jarrett Parker, Mac Williamson. The list goes on and on and on and on. And look, AAA is one thing, but the big leagues. And you're right, Lou. The organization is starving for a star, of its own. Hunter Bishop, there's another one. Look, let's the Dodgers have traded top 100 prospects to get some really good players like Scherzer and Trey Turner a couple years ago. Those were top 10 prospects. They gave up some. What happened to those guys? You never hear of them, right? There's a lot of top 10 prospects that just fail. They fizz out. You got to be sure that Eldridge is not going to be one of those guys that fizzles out if you're going to keep him. If you're going to hang on to him, you better be sure that this guy's the real deal, that he's going to be a guy that gives you 35 plus homers a year and, is the guy. So we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. But guys, great show tonight. Giants win it by a score of 4-3. They hang on. That's two games in a row.
Try to get 3 tomorrow. With
Two in a row.
Your boy pitching tomorrow.
Yeah, three in a row is a winning streak, right?
Winning streak. Your boy, I know you're excited for your boy to pitch tomorrow in a rocking crowd. Oh, who's pitching for San Diego? Are we going against like their ace?
Let me take a look. Tomorrow night, let me get the music queued up and ready to go.
And we can do predictions before we get off.
Oh, yeah, sure. Tomorrow night is Pavetta. Okay, yeah. So advantage Padres right now it's 77.7% to 22.3% on the ESPN analytics for tomorrow night.
San Diego's favorite.
Wednesday night, you've got Landon Roop against undecided, and then Thursday it's going to be where we'll be, Lou. It'll be Justin Verlander taking the mound for the Giants versus Dylan Cease. So, this can be this was the game you had to get tonight. You had to get this one. So tomorrow night, Kai Teng versus Nick Pivetta. Look, if somehow the Giants pull tomorrow off, I'll come on here and just say the Giants are doing it to us again. They're teasing us. I don't see any way that the Giants win tomorrow night. I'll take the Padres tomorrow night by a score of 7-2.
Well, that's an improvement. The last time that Nick Pivetta faced off against Kai Teng, it was 11-1 Padres.
Okay. What do you got, Dallas, for tomorrow?
I'm going to say, that's a tough one. Would you say 7-2?
7-2 Padres.
I mean, if I'm being honest, it's going to be, I'll say the Giants can get 4 runs. So I'll say 8-4 Padres. I hate to say it, but it's just the pitching matchup. They're going to give up some runs tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll close it off saying 5-1 Padres.
Okay,
because the Padres, they need the game. You can't lose 5 straight and pretending that you guys have a chance to beat Dallas. I mean, to beat the Dodgers. They got to get some momentum before the Dodgers come to town. So
there we go. All right, guys. We're going to
shock. All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. So your crack crew is predicting all 3 of us got the Padres tomorrow night. So we got Chardal saying 7-2 Giants. Chardal, you're welcome on the show tomorrow night if you nail that score. And the Giants win 7-2. You will see Chardal on NorCal Sports Network tomorrow night. But only if it's 7-2, 6-2, 8-2, right in that range. So, everybody, I played the music too long, and we'll let it finish right there. So, We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a great one. 9:30ish again tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.